Welcome to the At the Coalface podcast with your host, Jason Greenwood. This podcast is all about what it's really like in the trenches of digital and e-commerce. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. It's my pleasure to welcome Frost Lee from Social Chat to the podcast. Welcome, Frost.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jason.
So good to have you here today. You're dialing in from San Francisco, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Exciting. We had just recorded, just coincidentally, I just recorded another podcast episode with John Ivanko, and he's also based in San Francisco. So definitely hotbed of innovation there in San Francisco.
Yeah, I bet, especially for people who are in technology companies.
No question about it. And speaking of technology, you have a deep and long background in technology to the point of actually software engineering. And that's how you got your start, right? You didn't start doing social chat. You had a long and less, past working in the industry. And you've also worked as an advisor, growth advisor, technical advisor to other brands, other technology platforms like Lyft, Rappi, Pinterest. But really, I guess if we go right back to the origin story of you, it really was on the technical side, from Apple to Twitter, Hacker Meter, which was then acquired by Pinterest and then going on to work as a software engineer for Pinterest. Sounds like you are deeply technical.
Yeah. So actually, I started coding when I was a teenager. And really, I think my entire background is my first job at Twitter was actually as a machine learning engineer. So if anyone ever uses the hashtag recommendation system, I created the first version with my team. So it was really fun. And here I'm now using machine learning for e-commerce. Yeah.
And you are right in the thick of it with social chat. Now, as I understand it, I've never used social chat before, so I have to go by my experience in the industry, as well as what your website says and some of the videos that you show on your website about how your platform works. And some people might mistakenly think social chat is maybe a live chat platform or something like that, but it's actually an embedded live shopping solution for e-commerce.
Yes, absolutely. It's both for live shopping and really more so we are really personalize the user's shopping experience using machine learning based what the users behave on the website with all these social interactions through live streaming and other social features.
Love it. So you're almost integrating or creating a social feed, like live social feed experience, maybe like Instagram Live, and you're weaving that type of an experience in with the commerce experience where someone is able to, on the brand side, they're able to go live, they're able to talk about products, almost like a QVC shopping network type of experience. But the people that are watching via your experience and your app, and I'll get you to explain a little bit more from a technical perspective how your platform works. But I guess they go into your app or your platform, they are able to see the live feed from the brand, the products that are being referenced or showcased in the ad and in the live stream, then they are able to buy right then and there on the spot or add it to their cart right then and there on the spot.
Exactly, Jason. You're spot on. So they can directly interact with the brand and the entire experience, like you just said, lives on the website. So the user never leaves the store at all when they're interacting with the brand. And as they shop more, interacting with the brand more, all these events, they'll be automatically recommended for relevant, for example, tutorials, educational event, or even like hang out with other customers, discussing about their use cases and relevant products and promotions from there. So it's really the entire, we call it social chat because we think we are enabling the social conversations between customers and the brands.
Very nice. Now, you're not alone in the industry. There are other competitors around live stream shopping. Obviously, we've got the social media platforms trying to move in the direction of live stream shopping anyway, and weaving that into their live stream experience. We've got Instagram shops, we've got Facebook shops, and we do have Instagram bringing some live shopping features, but certainly my wife's Asian. And when we compare, I guess, some of the commerce type shopping experiences to what are available in Asia, particularly in China, the West is light years behind. So if we look at WeChat, for example, they are light years ahead of just about anything else we have in the West. There's just no competition, and they seem so much more advanced in Asia than what we do in the West. And was it your vision to try to bring some of the favorites or some of the learnings from what's happening in Asia to Western platforms?
Yeah, so I actually think definitely in Asia, live shopping has been really around for a long time. I do feel in Asia, most of the live shopping does happen on the platforms like Taobao, which is the Chinese version of Amazon, and same as all the platforms are doing here. But I think really the big difference I try to differentiate is the branding experience. Like users come to the brand site and then directly interact with the brand there. And then brand gets all the user contact information and knows all the users' hobbies and shopping behaviors so they can really give a more personalized experience. So I usually use an analogy is you are going to like showcase your products like a summer market when everyone's out there versus you are really giving a bespoke experience when users walk into your retail store. And I think most brands, they definitely are more familiar with the latter. And now I'm just bringing this online.
Makes total sense. Now, how do you see yourself in the, I guess, the pantheon of live shopping solutions like LiveScale, and even Hero has some live shopping functionality, and Whizbee, and there's a few other competitors. This is a very hot space right now. As we know, every brand wants to have tighter engagement, closer engagement with their customers, which makes sense. We know that QVC and TV Shopping Network, etc., has been successful for decades, and people love that kind of almost interactive live experience where you've got a host talking about products, showing off products, interacting with the audience. We have, I guess, this model has been around for a long time, and now it's gone digital. And now we have a lot of competition developing in this space, not only from the social commerce platforms themselves, but also platforms like yours that are embedded in the DTC e-commerce experience. So where do you see you guys fitting in, having a point of difference, and really bringing something unique to the table that brands go, hey, we're absolutely going to go with social chat because they allow us to do things and engage with our customers in ways that we just cannot do any other way?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jason, like we just talked about, social is always interaction and really like being live interactive gets customers' attention and they then be able to really engage more. However, in the long run, if we really want to give customers the best shopping experience and comfort them, the most important part is personalization. And in order to achieve personalization, is really what we call social chat AI. It's a lot of machine learning to make sure from all these interactions, how do we make the shopping experience better for customers? So I guess the real life analogy I would put there is when you go to the store, you definitely get all these great interactions with sales representative. But the reason you always go back to the same person is because this person remembers exactly what you like. They will recommend stuff that is relevant to you. Either you care about discounts or care about new items or you care about certain colors or certain kind of cut, right? And they always remember about you when there's a relevant product upcoming or relevant event upcoming for you. And that's why you are loyal to them. That's why you buy. Not only because there's a person interacting with you. I feel that's the same thing for live shopping or social commerce with it has to be with machine learning, it has to be with AI. So the customers really get the benefit.
Now, most live shopping solutions that I've looked at before, they don't necessarily work off of a recommendations engine that's AI or machine learning driven. And so if we think of your platform almost like a live shopping solution mixed with a Nosto type personalization platform, that feels like the direction you guys are headed in as a platform. But how does that manifest itself in the actual customer experience? For example, if I'm, let's say, I don't know, let's say I work at a furniture store and I want to go live and I want to talk about a specific lounge, or I want to talk about a specific coffee table or a specific lazy boy, or I have 5 things I want to talk about on this live shopping through an add to cart button directly on the screen, directly in the experience, or to at least direct them to the product page of that product on the website so that they can get more information and then choose to add it to their cart and check out with it. Typically, the way that works, at least in my experience, is that the host of the experience will tag the products that they are going to be showing during the live stream. And then those show up as either little tabs or buttons or modal windows in the stream, so that when they're showing and demoing those products and talking about those products, customers have the chance to learn more or buy. Now, in your experience, because the recommendations that are being made are driven by AI, machine learning, and perhaps even other experiences that the customers had on the website if they visited before, and particularly if they're authenticated, if they're logged in, then how do you mesh together the recommendations that you're making versus the products that the host is showing in the live stream?
Yeah, so Jason, I think they totally goes hand to hand and help each other. So before the user even coming to the live shopping event, number one, we actually recommend them what is a content they're interested in. It's either a live shopping event that is a more educational, or something like a new product launch, or even the past recorded content that can help them to make a purchase decision. So from the get-go, we are redirecting them to something that is more relevant. And then as they go into it, you're absolutely right. The host chose what products they want to feature. And as the user is participating in the event, we learn about what products they clicked, what questions they asked, and all their shopping behaviors on the website throughout all these interactions as well. So afterwards, when they come to the site, they see a completely different personalized experience, as well as in all the event afterwards, we follow up with the customers with more content recommendations and product recommendations. And as a result, that's why you saw in our case studies, we were able to lift the conversion rate for our clients by a shocking 200%. It's really because all the recommendations we had for the customers are relevant, and that's why they're interested in buying. So really from the get-go to where to, like which event they want to attend, all the way to all the follow-ups, and when are they coming back to the website and for what product or what content.
Love that. I love the fact that it sounds like what you're doing, and I'm getting, and we can get into the technical because you're very technical, and I love that because it means we can have kind of a technical conversation. So what we're really talking about here is we are talking about a scenario where you guys, I'm guessing there's a JavaScript snippet for your platform that is put on to the merchant's website. And so it's starting to bring in data from customers that visit the website. As they traverse the website, you're capturing their behavioral data. You, in the same way that a personalization platform like a Nosto or many of the other personalization platforms out there, particular audience, et cetera, there's many platforms, there's CDPs, there's many platforms that capture behavioral data from customers and then merge that with their authenticated profile if and when they authenticate. And I'm guessing that you guys do something similar, but instead of maybe necessarily recommending, say, a product panel on a product page and saying, hey, you might also like these 5 other products, you are using that customer data to personalize content from your platform is relevant to them. So for example, a brand might have a live shopping calendar. So they might have planned out 3 weeks in advance or 4 weeks in advance what's coming up in their live stream calendar. They are going to feature different categories of products or different specific products over those weeks. So they know and they can tell the customer what is coming up in their live stream shopping calendar. Then what you will do is you will take all this knowledge that you've gathered over perhaps months and years around the customers that are interacting with the site outside of your platform. Then you're taking that and you are saying, hey, do we have something in our catalog of recorded live streams that's relevant to this customer? Or do we have something in our calendar that's coming up that seems like it would be super relevant that they can book in to follow? And then we'll send them an invitation so that it actually goes into their Google Calendar, whatever it is, so that they don't miss out on something that should be quite relevant to them. Is that kind of how we should think about your platform?
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the recommendations we make. Like exactly to your point, what content the users are interested, either for a future event, past event, or this other content that is happening on the website, like videos, like user posted images. So they're all in our recommendations. And furthermore, after the user interacting with all these events, exactly to your point, we also follow up with customers through emails and on-site banners to make sure they really remember and get the products they were really interested in learning more about to close the purchase loop.
So effectively what you're doing is you are creating a laundry list of various different types of content. Doesn't necessarily have to be content that has been created or stored or will be created in your platform. You're actually allowing the merchant to decide which types of content should be exposed via your platform to the customer, including live streams that are offered and supported by your platform. And so can we think of your platform as a drop-in replacement for some of the other personalization platforms out there, like a Nosto? Would some brands not deploy a Nosto and they would deploy social chat instead, because you can make product recommendations, you can make content recommendations, and you can choose where and when to make those recommendations based on customer data that you've collected throughout their shopping journeys or browsing journeys with that merchant on their website? Is it a scenario a merchant may adopt you as their end-to-end personalization platform, or is it really focused on that video content space?
Yeah, it's totally possible, but every recommendation system has a focus, and our strong belief is social and interactive content. So we highly recommend customers to live shopping events, to like shoppable videos, like a tutorial or like a product explanation. And we can also recommend users to some images customers posted, but we are highly focusing visual and interactive content.
That's some of the most popular content today. We know that the data says that. Now, if I've pre-recorded a live shopping stream and let's say I go out of stock on a product, or I discontinue a product that was in that live stream, and someone views that live stream because it's been recommended to them based on their behavioral patterns and based on AI and machine learning, you think that stream would be particularly relevant to them. So let's say, going back to that furniture analogy, they're on the couches category, and now at the top of the couches category, you're going to recommend perhaps a pre-recorded couches live stream where they've talked about a specific couch or a range of couches, and now the products that they were talking about in the live stream either have been discontinued or they're out of stock. Will you, in the replays of those live streams, will you substitute some dynamic recommendations into that live stream when they watch a pre-recorded stream? Or is it a case of that, no, they're actually going to be clicking through to products that may no longer be in stock or may no longer even exist on the website anymore, and then they would have to navigate from there to other products?
Yeah, so Jason, there are two parts. Number one is even the product is being sold out, I think it's still relevant to be there, just so the content of the live streaming is still relevant. And sometimes that knowledge applies to other products as well. And users like to see sold out items sometimes anyway. And that's also another drive for them to come back to the store more often, so they know like good stuff sells out. But on the other hand, exactly when the users are clicking on the sold out products, we recommend then the products are similar and people actually end up purchasing instead in the follow-up, either through like the on-site banners or email. So they can purchase something that is just almost as good and similar after they consume the content, even though the original table is sold out.
And I guess in the future, you may add that functionality to pre-recorded live streams. So I guess you could potentially, in stream, you will know the inventory of the website, because I'm guessing you get an inventory feed from the site. You get a product feed from the site, so that obviously you can link to those products in a live stream when it's live. And I'm guessing you could add that feature in the future where product recommendations actually turn up in the live stream, even if they weren't selected by the host initially to be featured in that live stream. You could have almost a ticker of recommended products dynamically inserted, similar to how you would in an email, or similar to how you would in a banner, or similar to how you would on a product page. You could do that in stream as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jason, you are refilling all our roadmaps now, which is amazing.
Certainly was not my intention, but I guess I think I always try to think through the lens of where is a customer going to get stopped in their buyer journey, or where they're going to get almost get halted in their tracks, and how can we smooth any pain points or any barriers? How can we remove friction? How can we recommend next best product, or next best option, or next best variant of a product? So yeah, I guess I always try to think of it through that lens of empathy. We don't ever want to have a customer run into a roadblock that they effectively have to manually navigate around as they go through an experience. Now, with your platform, how do you see, or do you see live stream shopping in social media? Do you see those platforms as competitors at all? Or how do you see them as competitors? And do you think that, for the example, the likes of Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, because TikTok's really not there yet, it's miles away, which is interesting considering that Douyin is so much further along in its e-commerce capabilities versus TikTok, because you'd think they'd be equivalent, but they're not. Do you see those social media platforms, considering the fact that those platforms are where a lot of these brands' audiences spend significant amounts of their time? And so really, for brands to get someone to move out of the stream, the social media stream, into a live shopping stream, it means they've got to redirect them to their website, or they've got to have a link in bio, or they got to have something like that and say, hey guys, we've got a live shopping stream coming up in 2 days, put a countdown timer on there, something like that. And so there is this friction introduced when we're trying to move someone out of a social media stream into a website live shopping stream. So do you even see social media as a competitor, or do you see it as a complementary platform to what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, I totally see it's complementary. Actually, we even have a feature that when users are doing live shopping on their website, they can broadcast the same content to their audiences at the same time on all these platforms. So users on Instagram or YouTube or others, they will see, oh, they are actually doing live the website. But if they were to interact with the host directly, such as asking questions, shop right there, get exclusive deals, or learn about the super secretive coupon that only the participants can get, then they have to come to the website. And we have actually seen brand partners successfully got so many new customers through this method. So
That's amazing. And so we can think of social chat almost like StreamYard as well. With StreamYard, obviously you can go live and you can simultaneously live stream to all the platforms that support live streaming. And we can think of your platform as being like that. And you're going live on your own website with enhanced functionality and enhanced interactive capabilities and ability to shop right in the stream, be able to interact with the host, being able to interact with other users in the stream. We can think of you offering that service, also offering personalization and recommendation, and like a StreamYard, in that in real time, at the same time, it looks like you're going live natively, say, for example, an Instagram Live, but actually that feed is coming via API from your platform instead.
yeah, absolutely. And I actually think by doing that, brands actually gain two benefits. Number one is the content can just stay on their website without them doing extra work, because otherwise all these live events, they just only live on their social channels instead of really upload it to their site. Number two is they actually get all the customers come to their site, sign up, shop, and engage. So they really convert their social followers to real customers and real buyers. So I definitely think all these are complementary, and I'm really happy to see more and more platforms supporting this.
And if we were to think about, now you said you've obviously got a roadmap, you're an engineer at heart, you're clearly super smart, you come from this really deep tech background, but yet you understand customer journeys and experiences. You've worked at Wish, you've worked in in industries that were extremely customer facing, that everything you did was exposed throughout the customer journey in one way, shape, or form, like you said at Twitter. And the reality is that you have to, I guess, not only understand the technical side of what you're building, but you have to understand the consumer psychology and the user psychology and human psychology of what you're building. So if we look out over the next, say, 6, 12, 18, 24 months, is there anything that social chat doesn't do today that you go, hey, we love what we do. We do all these amazing things. We do this laundry list of 10 things really well, but there's 2 or 3 things that we think we can either do better, or we can add these additional functions that are just going to add, and it's going to dramatically scale up the value of our platform.
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. So I think the entire vision of the company from the get-go is we really want to recreate the bespoke experience for the brands online. So I think live shopping and all these social features are the first step. But really, we want to make the customers just feel as they were shopping in the store. So it comes with their personal social profiling. It comes to ideally when they shop in the store, we can also sync all this data to online. So all these information are flowing with each other. And most importantly, I think what social media is so amazing and gets us so addicted that we want to go back every day is this community that people are engaging with you. So I hope over time we're able to really enable all the buyers, all these brands, they can see all these community as we do more and more these events, as we actually create all more and more this recommendation content. They really feel, yes, like these are all my shopping friends. They are helping me with my styling, they are helping me with my product selection. And then that's how really they identify themselves with the brand and just stay there as a loyal customers forever, just like how we have nowadays in real life when people shop in person. So that's my goal. Hopefully I can get it within the next couple of years. If not,
Ambitious. I absolutely love it. I think you'll get there. Now, do you have a vision also, because you've already built this complex live streaming technology and the ability to interact with the live stream in a bi-directional way? Do you have a vision of ever building out functionality that is similar to Hero, where the live stream is actually part of the customer service experience, where I can connect with an in-store staff member, where they're interacting one-to-one with just me in real time, where they're maybe walking around a store, they're answering questions about products, they're showing me products on screen, they can even add products to my cart directly from the customer service experience layer that's layered on top. So Hero does a lot of these things very well, and obviously they've been acquired by Klarna for that very reason, because they're pretty unique in what they do. But it feels like you've built out a lot of the similar plumbing that would be required to be able to leverage this from a customer service perspective. Do you see yourself ever moving into that space as well?
so I think it just really depends on what's the focus. So I can see this one-to-one consultational type of setting work really well for a specific type of products. What I really want to do is really create a very social experience. So like when we're shopping in the store, even though we have a sales representative that is helping us, but there are also other people around. And sometimes when we buy something, it's not only because the salesperson push really hard on us, it's because these pedestrians just walk by and say, hey, you look really good with that bag. Like that actually comfort us sometimes much better than the brand. So I feel instead of mirroring what Hero has been doing, I can see we do things more on smaller group, more focused group, but I want it to be an open conversation. Like when I'm talking with this sales representative, other people can jump in as well. And we can all shop together. We ask similar questions and then we help each other to make a decision. And I feel that's a real social and native experience when people shop. And that scales out better for the brand as well in terms of how do they scale up this function.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. And how do you guys make your money? So how do you charge? How do you guys, because you're a SaaS platform, and so presumably there's some form of subscription model associated with what you guys do. There's obviously got to be a hosting component for the content that's saved on your system and then reserved up. There must be, some sort of bandwidth component that's associated with this. How do you guys make your money?
Yeah, so it's actually very simple for self-serving users. They can just go to Shopify or other platforms to install our app, and we just charge $29.99 plus 5% of the sales. That's directly through our. If we don't make sales, you don't pay. I think that's much better for the brands than if we charge by usage or bandwidth. And for enterprise customers, it's just depending on their needs, and then we would have a customized solution for them that they can talk with.
That to me sounds like a very fair, model. At the end of the day, if your it's almost pay-per-click, right? It's even better than pay-per-click, because pay-per-click only charges if someone actually follows through. And so the reality is that you are becoming almost like a sales partner of the brand, and you're almost like a commissioned salesperson, right? It's almost like you're in store, you're helping buyers buy, and then if you help the buyer complete a purchase, then you receive a commission on that purchase that you helped to drive. So it feels very much like a partnership between you and the brands that you work.
Absolutely. And also I feel that's just a way that brands also feel they always get 20 times return on investment, because they see we only charge when we actually make sales. So that's just much easier for people to see the actual return, because we all talk in numbers in e-commerce.
I guess they call that putting your money where your mouth is. So you're obviously backing your product. You obviously back your ability to drive sales. You obviously back your ability to create a great customer experience, and it shows in your pricing model.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I hope people see that way, that we really believe they will sell, and that's why we charge them.
Love it. And so is your team, are they all based in San Francisco, or do you have a distributed team around the world? Obviously working from home with COVID became very common. So do you do, the development yourself, or do you have a development team that you have as well? Because it seems like you're technical enough that you would be able to develop this whole thing yourself. But what does your team look like?
Yeah, so I was really lucky. The team that we all used to work together to create a marketing automation system to serve hundreds of millions of customers at Wish. And they rejoined me to really enable this technology for all these brands. Most of them are based in San Francisco, but we do have several team members in New York and other cities because of remote work culture nowadays.
Makes it a lot easier to pull together a team, that's for sure, nowadays, when they don't all have to be in the same office at the same time.
Yeah, and also people have different preferences, right? So some people like more remote areas, like in a small village, and some people like really big metropolitan cities.
Absolutely love that. I live in an off-grid tiny house, and so look, you're absolutely right. Some people want to live in a metropolis, and some people want to have a bit more green space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, it has been such a great chat, and we're coming to the end of our time together. And what I'd like to do now, we've introduced a segment recently where I turn the microphone over to you. I let you ask one question of me, and then I do my best to answer that question. And so I'd love to turn the microphone over to you. Frost Lee, Social Chat, what question do you have for me?
Yeah, so Jason, it seems like you really think really a lot about e-commerce and all these trends of like people getting more interactive. So I'm actually curious. They say if you were running a program like live shopping for a brand, how would you do it? And if you would give some tips for our listeners for that.
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I guess I would approach it similar to how I did with social media. And what I mean by that is you have to get really comfortable in your own skin, and you have to get really comfortable with, I guess, becoming desensitized to any potential negative feedback, which is really rare anyway in the grand scheme of things. But when people first start seeing themselves on camera, or when they first start seeing their thoughts in print, even digitally on social media platforms, or they put images of themselves out there, it really is an expression of vulnerability. And for me, that I'm an extreme extrovert. So it was probably a little bit easier for me than it is for, say, for example, an introvert. But I believe that everyone can find something that they're comfortable with. And it may not be live video. It may be long form posts. It may be pictures with a post. It may be short form content. There are so many different ways. It might be audio like this, or like a podcast, where they might not be comfortable putting themselves out there on video form or in written form, but they feel like they're a really confident speaker. And so they're very happy to not have their image up in lights, but they're really good at having two-way conversations with people. And so I would say that we all have our strengths. And I think that whilst we can improve our weaknesses marginally over time with focus and time and energy, we can certainly improve our weaknesses. But I think that the vast majority of people would be better off by doubling down on their strengths. And whilst I feel super comfortable on video, I pretty much just feel comfortable being in public and being very exposed. But not everybody does. And so I would recommend for brands that, for example, wanted to implement social chat, even if your CEO or your founder or your boss is not necessarily running something like a live stream shopping session, there is most likely, unless you are a totally tiny business, it's highly likely that you have at least one person in your business that is a bubbly expert that would love to be the face of your brand, would love to represent your brand publicly, would love to talk and interact with your customers on a regular basis. And it might even be someone from your customer service department. And so I've seen this many times with brands, is they've got this latent talent hidden away in their business that they didn't even know was there. And so I think brands really have to look deep inside themselves and say, who's the best person to own this in the business and who would love it the most and get the most fulfillment out of doing this thing. And so I think brands really have an opportunity with technology like yours to uncover the hidden talent in their business that would love to be part of this and front the business to the customer.
Love it. You are basically saying every brand has a personality and different person has different ways of communicating self. This is beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Well, Frost, I've really enjoyed our conversation. You've really shared a lot. From your platform is similar, but so different, right? There's other platforms that allow live stream shopping on a website, but really, I guess the differentiators that I see based on our discussion are the fact that you've got this AI machine learning behind the scenes that can make really smart, really well-informed product and content recommendations. You can save the live streams for future reuse and redeployment across the customer journey. And you have this deep integration with social media platforms and live streaming so that you get the benefit across all of your video channels at the same time. So I really do love what you've built, and I wish you absolutely every success. I'd love to get you on in maybe another 6 to 12 months and see how much social chat has developed in the meantime. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jason. Likewise, I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Are you a merchant or software vendor that is focused on e-commerce or omnichannel? Then head over to greenwoodconsulting.net to see how we can help you scale your business.